Halloween 2 picks up right where the 1978 classic ended, but should this film have even been made? What's up, everyone? I am Wink.
And I'm Skillz.
And this is Scream Cheese. Today, we are talking about Halloween 2 from 1981, directed by Rick Rosenthal, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasence.
And Dick Warlock as Michael Myers.
All right, Skillz, so I had never seen this one.
I obviously have a lot to say about it, but first I would like to hear how much you loved or hated it.
Act number 1, I was literally going, holy shit. This is a terrible movie. So even Donald Pleasence, his performance to me in the first act is like laughable, man. I think there's even lines that are classic lines, like you don't even know what death is. To me, dude, I could have cracked up. That line sounded so stupid to me. But I felt like the movie was better in the second act, and I think it had an excellent third act. To the point where, to me, they could have not done the first and second act and just taken that third one and attached it to the first movie, and we're golden. So yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. I didn't feel any suspense early on. Looking up things about it, there was talks about how John Carpenter didn't think that Rick Rosenthal had his like finger on horror very well, with just like sticking to suspense and not having any of the gore stuff. So then John Carpenter came in and added. From my perspective, that's like the saving grace of the film. If you hadn't done the crazy kills, there was no suspense for me anyway. I tried to put myself in like the mindset of imagine this is 1981. I couldn't do it the way I could with 1978. The original Halloween, dude, it's like palpable. It feels like a scary movie. This one, I didn't get the tingly, nostalgic feelings. It really needed the kills for me. And luckily, it did have those. And it had, what is her name?
The nurse?
Yeah, it had Tawny Moyer, who is maybe the hottest nurse of any movie ever. How come she didn't get like a huge... Dude, the first thing I did when I turned off the movie was look to see, oh, surely she has like an awesome career and I'm gonna watch all of her horror movies. But no, there's like not that. What happened? What a failure.
Yeah, she was actually pretty good in the film for a slasher film. You would have thought that she would have went on to do things.
Skillz, what do you think of everything I just said there? I don't want to be disappointing to you. I'm just trying to be honest about everything.
All I have to say is, Amazing Grace, come sit on my face.
Yes.
I'll tell you no lies. Nothing you've said bothers me. It's kind of cool to hear it from your perspective. I can probably agree with everything negative people would say about this film, but here's a problem for me.
Yeah.
Is in 1981, I had already seen the original Halloween. I'm a little kid. I'm obsessed with Michael Myers. Halloween 2 comes out, more Michael Myers. I absolutely loved it, and it was like my second favorite Halloween film forever. But as time has gone by, I realized that there was a pretty major tonal shift in this film from the first one. I think that's number one. And there's all kinds of reasons behind it. Carpenter wasn't really creatively backing it. And they also wanted to take advantage of the Friday the 13th success and have the kills be more brutal. I did like Myers in this. I feel like there's some cool stuff with him. Some of the acting early on was bad. Some of the scenarios were kind of ridiculous.
I think Donald Pleasence's performance was hindered by the cops, who all sucked. Dude, like he's stuck in their world, and like I don't know what was going on.
The cops were bad. I always remember, and I always get like the cringe chills, even today, when they just got done hitting this kid that they thought was Myers. He's sitting there burning, and the other cop comes to him and says, "They found, the kids. One of them was Annie," and it's like there's this kid. Could that happen in real life? Sure, but in drama, you want to give everything their own weight. So it was just really bad.
Dude, when they hit that kid, I was like, oh my god, dude. I don't know what it was about that, dude. I think they like aced it or something. But dude like I was like, holy shit.
Well, here's the thing about it. It's so over the top because it's like somewhere inside of that there was an idea that could work, but they went over the top. A kid is slowly crossing the street on Halloween. A cop happens to be speeding and not only hits the kid, hits him to a truck. Everything explodes.
Dude.
And then now we have seconds later cops having a casual conversation, and then all of a sudden it's moving on to the next like crazy thing that happened.
Dude, I think that might have been like the best effect ever too. It was so convincing that it was like shocking.
The best part is the cops right after the kid gets hit and he's burning. Is it him? Is it? You know, and he's like, how the hell is he gonna know? I mean, he's not God. It's like, would any cop actually ask that question right there on the spot where a guy's burning to death?
Right.
It's like, yeah. So I mean, there's just ridiculous moments in the film like that. Now I do agree with you. I think the second half is good. And I will say that despite any failings, I feel like within this film there was a good story. I still think that the whole hospital concept was really cool. And again, this has been done to death probably now, but at the time in 1981 when I first saw this film, it was really scary to me as far as him tracking her to the hospital. And here's something we have to touch on, and this is like one of the biggest areas of contention in the entire Halloween franchise, is Laurie Strode's Michael Myers' sister. And that was something that John Carpenter put in there in the script. I think there's a quote where he said he drank like a 6-pack and he like wrote the script. But here's the thing, as kids, and I have friends that are horror fans, we kind of liked that idea because it almost gave meaning to the whole thing. He killed his original sister and it would make sense, like, oh, that's why he's coming for Laurie, because in the first one she was clearly the focus. And there's other people that hate that idea because they don't want Michael Myers to have a motive. They want him to just be this killing machine that will get locked onto somebody and then he goes at them. That was like a big revelation in Halloween 2, was it's his sister.
Yeah, dude, and I see like all sorts of people had problems with that. We kind of touched on this when we talked about the original Halloween, because I had heard about that plot line. I was like, when does that come along or whatever? Dude, that doesn't bother me at all, because it's like horror. It's in horror when you have these franchises that like go on and on. Granted, I know this is only the sequel. There's something classic about people trying to like take all the loose ends and like wrap them around and make them fit the way that they want so that it can continue their story. Stuff like that just doesn't bother me, dude. Like it just
doesn't bother me either.
Yeah.
I've always liked the idea of that. As a standalone in the 1978 classic, I have no problem with the idea that he is just pure evil. But as you go on with it, I understand why they would have created that connection. Even now, when I watch the new Halloweens, in my mind, I keep thinking like, Laurie is Michael's sister. This all makes sense. And I feel like that makes it even richer. And she has to fight and kill her brother, who killed her sister before she was born. That's just kind of cool to me, you know, but to each their own.
They did drop that for 2018, right?
Yeah, totally,
okay.
Completely.
So like, this may be a controversial take. I think that most of the mainstream audiences that are going to see Halloween, they haven't seen Halloween 2.
Yeah,
they haven't seen most of them. They might have seen the first one, and they are going to see these movies off of the legend. And if you were to just say, guys, this is his sister, they don't know that wasn't even introduced in the first one. They're like, oh yeah, you're telling us that they're related? Oh, they always were then. That's your mainstream audience, I think. Because that's who I am, dude. Like, honestly, I am like a horror diehard, but I'm not a Halloween diehard. And if you had told me, oh yeah, that was always the case, they were just brother and sister, I would have nothing to refute. I'd be like, oh, 2018 makes perfect sense. He's still after her. Yeah. Duh. I do believe that the first act was kind of a bad, almost B horror movie. But I still enjoyed it. And once I saw the entire thing, I stopped like having that conversation with myself of like, what is going on here? Dude, I really enjoyed it. And I thought about it all day today. I really liked it. It just, man, it had, to me, a rough start.
It did. And as a kid, I have to say, the way the film ends with when Laurie, Loomis, and Myers get caught in that room and the way everything ends, that was like really cool to me. Anyways, I'm glad you watched it though, man. You only have like 20 more to go.
Yeah, I only got 27 more Halloween movies to watch. Man, it makes me just wish that somebody had redone the Nightmares or like a requel or something where they cared as much as the Halloween people do. Cause like,
yeah.
Man, when you look at Halloween 2 and what they're creating now, it's, in my opinion, so much better than what they made back then, but still so true to this material, dude. Like, they are still making truly Halloween movies, but they're just doing it with the care and skill that we have now. As filmmakers. So I was gonna give it a 6.9, but I'm gonna give it a straight up 7 for my girl Tawny.
Nice.
She gives it a full 1/10 of a point more.
I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've watched that hot tub scene. So
I bet.
But
dude. I bet, man.
But in the way she dies too is pretty. Even today, it kind of bothers me. It would be a horrible way to die, even though it's kind of ridiculous. But my score is obviously when I saw it as a kid, it was a 10. Now I would say I'm going to go with you. I'm going to match your score.
Really? You're going to give it a 7?
Yep.
And you know that Tawny is not the hot tub nurse, right? She's like the almost blonde hair, like the light brown. Right. She's the one that gets like stabbed with the scalpel and lifted up in the air.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's super
the one.
hot.
Yes.
She's super hot. But you have to understand, as a kid, that hot tub scene
that like changes your world when you're a little kid and you see that.
Just like the scene in Nightmare 3 where Joey's in the bed.
Dude, that's what I was gonna say when I brought her up. I was like, oh, she's like the hottest nurse in all of cinema, and I was like, but that's not the truth, because the hottest nurse in all of cinema is the Joey scene. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like my body, Joey?
Yeah.
Cut all this out, by the way. We're gonna get shut.
All right, folks. Well, let us know what you thought of the 1981 classic-ish Halloween 2. Also, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and suggest your favorite horror movies in the comment section below. Also, we're gonna have an extended conversation about Halloween 2 on our Patreon. You can check out the link in the description to become part of that conversation, and we will talk to you soon. All right, folks. We will see you next time. Peace out, cheesers.
Peace.